Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to do a video that I've been meaning to do for some time, and since I took everything down from my room, my classroom walls, I actually can, physically hold and show all these things to you. What I wanted to do was just do a little tour of, specifically for this video, just things that students have given me over the years that I've really enjoyed, really appreciated, really liked, and just want to highlight and showcase. And so, all of these items, there's no particular order for which one I like the most to least, but these were all some really awesome things that I got at my 3.5 years at Christ the King. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first thing I want to show, or one of the things I want to show here, is Kawaii Shrek. So for those of you who have been in my classroom, you have probably seen this on the back wall at some point. This was drawn by a grade 12. This would be about 2, maybe 3 years ago now. This was probably one of my first groups that I taught. This girl was a very incredible artist, and she would often, rather than take her notes, she would doodle. And one day I was passing by her and saw this on her notebook, and this absolute monstrosity had to come with me. She had a tendency, I don't know, maybe she'd tear things up, or just, she'd just doodle all day in all class. So she would draw all sorts of things. And I saw this one and I was like, oh man, I gotta keep this. This thing is just so weird. And the longer you look at it, I can see it from behind, just a see-through paper. The longer you look at it, the weirder it gets. And it is something that I have definitely enjoyed having in my classroom. I've seen over the years many students just, their eyes catch it, and then all of a sudden there's 6 students just staring at the thing and discovering more and more of how weird and absurd it gets. So, here we go, Kawaii Shrek. Okay, another item. Now this was drawn by the same student. This one is I noticed the same student who drew Kawaii Shrek. She had a display up at one of our CTK Fine Arts nights, and I saw this. I saw a couple of her, things that she had painted and drawn and whatnot, and the style was really cool. One thing I like about this is all of that line work you're seeing, and she had her own kind of artwork up on display, and I saw it. I commended her on the art that she had drawn, and then I just said to her, I was like, hey, you got to get me one of these. This is so cool. I would love, a painting from you. And she said, sure. Tomorrow in class, we'll just discuss kind of what you want, and I'll make something. And for this one, I think I just told her, hey, I want 2 ravens or 2 crows pulling on a heart. To be honest, I don't even recall anymore what I told her, but whatever I told her, she kind of came back with this beautiful artwork, and then she made a print. So this is the only print that exists of this, as far as I'm aware. And I thought I was going to get the original. I was very excited, and she said, nope, nobody gets the originals. I keep them, right? Whoever gets artwork from me, they only get prints. So I'm very grateful to have this one as well. This one, because it was kind of a personal request that she agreed to, I like to keep this one just on my wall beside me, because you never know, students sometimes get a little rough with the artwork on the walls. So, I just keep it close to me. And I really love the artwork here. The 2 crows pulling on the heart there, and the wolf that's kind of looking up at them, and the mountains and sand and all the background. It's one that I really like, and I think it's one that students have enjoyed over the years as well. Although, given that it's so close to my desk, not as many people have seen it. But here you go for the YouTube. Okay, another thing that I have really enjoyed having on my walls, and I'm very grateful to have, although I didn't necessarily receive this one, I actually had to trade for this one, but many students might recognize, this mask that's been hanging up on the wall by the windows. And this was made by a grade 12 student in the same class as, Kawaii Shrek and the other painting that I had with the same student. This girl was very skilled and proficient with clay, so that's, from my understanding, that's what this is, this mask. or to some extent, but her skill set was she would make these like really awesome kind of clay sculptures, small sculptures for almost like caricatures of people's heads. And I was very persistent. I was trying to get her to, you know, make a clay sculpture of my head. And I said, you know, I'd keep this forever, but she kept putting it off, and she'd be like, you know, I don't want to do it. Or she said she would do it and never did. And you know, at the end of the year, I ended up trading something a different student gave me that was a little too vulgar for the classroom for this mask. And since then, it's been hanging up on my wall by the window. And yeah, I really love kind of the composition. I love the colors and just this like kind of fierce look on the face of the mask. And yeah, it's been very fun to have this up on my walls. Okay, next up, we have a trilogy of items made by the same student. This student I taught in grade 10, in grade 12, and I don't know if I taught this student in grade 11. My memory is a little fuzzy, and I do apologize for that to the student. But yeah, this student, very similarly to some of the other artwork, she was someone who would doodle in class. And as a teacher, I'm like very okay with that. And, you know, as long as people are doing well, and I guess at the high school level, you know, you can kind of make your own choices. But this one day I stumble across her kind of notebook. I don't actually know if she gave this to me or if I stumbled across it, but I stumbled upon this beaut. Okay, this is Najib. This is a little fun joke that the students had with my name that I was very okay with. You know, I love this choice of centaur, although, you know, I had to comment that on this one, you know, he's looking a little big boned, a little robust here, you know, and I clearly have no neck, or I have just a very long neck. I don't know, but my face here and my neck here, the connection is, you know, a little weird, but I really enjoyed the fact that the student included, you know, best teacher and fastest horse. You know, maybe one day I'll identify as a horse. I don't know, but this was nice. But it gets even better. So you know, the next year or sometime later, I had the same student, and I was kind of talking about the Najib drawing. I say, hey, you know, you gotta do one better, but this time you gotta add more muscles into it, right? Like that first one, he's looking kind of soft, and so then we get this next one. You know, this. Much more centaur-like. You know, I actually have an upper body. I have arms. I'm making this kind of kissy face, I just noticed. But, you know, a very common catchphrase of mine, do your dang work, or do your work. But yeah, this one is no longer, you know, best teacher, fastest horse, but clearly very strong horse. So I am more than okay with that. And the third time around, I had to ask for an even better upgrade. You know, I had to get more of capture more of the essence of who I really am. And so I told the student, I said, hey, you know, make him strong but also sophisticated. You know, you got to show off the intelligence of Najib. And we come to this masterpiece of the trilogy. You know, clearly you know, the muscles are there and the glasses are there to demonstrate the intelligence behind the eyes. I got nice strong legs there as well, and chiseled abs throughout. I love the vest as well, but you know, and the sleeves are ripped off because my arms are so huge, right? Clearly, we'll get there one day, you know. But yeah, the trilogy of Najib is definitely been not only one of my favorites, but one that made it to my Instagram, which a lot of people really loved on my Instagram as well. But now for my YouTube people, there you have it, the trilogy of Najib. Okay, so being a relatively young teacher, and you know, a lot younger 3 years ago, 4 years ago than I am now, being able to connect with students at a different level, you know, with many of them, and also with the resurgence of this game and show and whatnot, you know, I connected with a variety of students with Pokemon. You know, I'd see their little like Pokemon little stuffies on their backpacks, or you know, sometimes they draw Pokemon as well. So I'd ask, like, hey kids, what's your favorite Pokemon? And they'd tell me, and then they'd always ask, and my mind has always remained the same. My favorite Pokemon is Togepi. Okay, for those of you who know Togepi, you'll know that Togepi looks nothing like this. Unless, you know, Togepi takes a little bit of steroids, gets on the juice, and hits the weights. But this beautiful rendition of Buff Togepi is by the same artist who, you know, provided us with Najib. So this has been on my walls for a few years, proudly. You know, I absolutely love this drawing. It's a wonderful rendition of my favorite Pokemon, and certainly has captured the eyes of many students over the years as well. And yeah, I'm grateful to have this. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with this student and the big pecs and the chiseled abs, you know, but I love it. I love it. It's great. Okay, so this next one that I'm going to show you is very special and warm to my heart. I was very, you know, honored and flattered when I saw this one made, and I'll explain some of the details, but some of you kids might have heard me say this phrase over the last 2-3 years. Subscribe to Mr. Kawaja. That's because I have a YouTube channel that you're watching this on, and I actually started this YouTube in, you know, March 22nd, 2022. Okay, 2022. March 22nd, 2022 is when I started this YouTube channel. And some kids over the years have asked, you know, Mr. Kawaja, why are there cupcakes on your poster? That doesn't make any sense. And some of you might have seen the other Mr. Kawaja cupcake poster with the buff arms as well. Clearly that's like a common theme with these with these designs. And the cupcakes was because the students brought those posters and debuted them at a cupcake eating contest that I was part of with Mr. Hogan and Mr. Heck, which I unfortunately lost, but that's besides the point. And yeah, they held this up in the crowd, and you know, I remember I grabbed the poster. This was 2 years ago. I grabbed the poster and, you know, held it up for the crowd to see. You know, I was like, hey, subscribe to Mr. Kawaja. I'm sure we got a couple subscribes, and from what I recall, I actually got a couple of people unsubscribing because they, you know, there's a lot of contention there, a lot of jealousy. You know, people don't want to see Mr. Kawaja succeed with his YouTube channel, clearly. But yeah, this one was special. It was from a grade 9 student who, well, I found out much later who made this, but it was from a group of grade 9 students who, they were my first group. They were a group that gave just about everyone else, from what I heard, everyone else a very hard time, but for me, for whatever reason, for a variety of reasons, you know, they just really got a good connection with me, and you know, they treated me well, and I treated them well also. And yeah, I'm very happy to have this poster. It hangs somewhere very publicly in my class to serve as a reminder to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so there you have it, the subscribe to Mr. Kawaja poster. So, you know, when you want to root for something like a team, it's pretty common that you'll have a mascot. And most people might not know this, but Mr. Kawaja's class has a mascot, and his name is Kajib. I'm pretty sure that's what the grade 11s named him last year. But this, also he comes with a dragon battle axe for any of my RuneScape fans out there. This is a finger puppet that was found, from my understanding, on the floor of the LRC, I believe. Which, I don't know, maybe I don't want to put my finger in this thing, but whatever. Anyways, my grade 11 students last year, many of whom graduated this year, they took some time. You know, they came up with all these little renditions of his name, taking the first 3 letters of my first name and some 3 letters from my last name, and eventually, you know, we ended up with Kajib, which I love, and we sat him on top of a candle I have in my classroom. Some of you might have noticed on my prayer table, which has Jesus' face over it, the candle, and I remember plopping him into the candle, rotating it, facing the class, and saying, listen kids, he watches over you, and letting them know that I'm not specifying who's watching over you, but the classroom mascot watches over you. He's got a dragon battle axe. I don't know actually who gave him this dragon battle axe, but I love it. He's got a dragon battle axe because he means business. And there's a student who's currently in grade 11 who also donated a wonderful pair of sunglasses. I think he did this last year, which they're kind of up top on my tiki. donated a pair of sunglasses, which went on top of Khajiit. So not only does he mean business with his dragon battle axe, but he's also the coolest guy in the classroom, and he sits there with Jesus, and they both watch over you. And there you have it, folks. Khajiit, the classroom mascot. Now, it's not just the classroom mascot who means business. Some of you got this weird idea that I just get paid to walk in the hallways and wander around and just have fun. Unbeknownst to you, I do teach 4 classes a day, 3 when I get a prep. But I'm in here teaching, and I want you to know that I mean business as well, okay? So this sword, hopefully you can see it on the camera entirely. This sword was made for me by a student who was wandering the hallways one day. This would have been last year. He's a grade 9. He was wandering the hallways, and he had a sword, and typical guy thing, without saying anything, I was carrying my flowery water bottle. I remember flipping it into my hand like this, and then his sword and my water bottle connected. Obviously we weren't swinging for each other's heads, but we connected, and it was a wonderful moment. And then I stopped there and I asked him, it's like, so what's going on, man? Like, why do you have a sword? And he's like, well, I made it in shop class, and but I got to take it home because it looks bad and whatever. But I just threw it out there because without asking, you'll never receive, right? For those of you who read the Bible, ask and thou shalt receive. So I asked him, I said, hey, you want to make me one of these? Like, just threw it out there. Didn't think he'd actually say yes or would actually do it. And, I asked him, and, time went by, a few days, a few weeks go by. We're basically in June. It's, exams, just about like very similar to right now. And I get a call on my phone, and it's Miss Irvine from the office saying, hey, I got something for you here. A kid dropped it off. You should probably come down here. And I'm thinking, like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. Okay, well, let's go down there. And I go down there, and it's like, oh, some kid left this like sword for you. I don't know what that's about. And big smile on my face, a little bit in disbelief. Couldn't believe that he actually made it for me and gave me one. He picked this beautiful wood, this nice dark color, and nice sharp point, and handle that's perfect for one hand, or two, if you want to really hack someone's head off, for obviously medieval weapon style. But yeah, one of my favorite gifts that I could receive from a student. And I always keep it nearby in my classroom, and every now and then we'll bring it out and just have it in my hands while I'm teaching, and just I really love medieval weaponry. For those of you I have like a samurai sword, a katana tattooed on my left arm. Yeah, there you go. My classroom sword. Moving on from all that swords and all that, chaos, we got this item. Now, when I first saw this, I simply thought, hey, this student made a little heart and there's some black lines on it. And I thought that was very interesting. And before he actually told me what it was, and it had like a little green bit, unfortunately got torn off. But before he told me what it was, I just thought it was a heart with some darkness on it. And we called it Tough Love. And later on, he told me that it's actually something from the anime show One Piece, and it's a fruit that somebody eats. But this was left behind more so than given. I did negotiate with the student. I said, hey, what are you doing with this? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm probably gonna get rid of it. And I said, well, don't do that. Like, it looks really nice. He said, well, I don't want it. And I said, well, what about if you give it to me? And he seemed okay with allowing that, and so here I have it. Unfortunately, this year, I don't know what happened, but the green little fuzzy bit from the fruit, it got ripped off, and then unfortunately, none of the students this year really cared too much for other people's things, and so no one really bothered to say like, hey, whatever, or to take care of it. The students who were sitting nearest to my desk, but. Yeah, this just as a reminder of a student who's very difficult, very challenging to connect with, to get along with, and to teach at times as well. And it just reminds me of him and reminds me to some extent of how far he came as well. So here you have it. Tough love. Again, on a mushy note, some of the girls I've taught over the last 2 years, from grade 9 and grade 10, they got me this cardboard. I'm joking. They put together a little goodbye project for me, which I'm very grateful for. Hopefully everything is seen in the shot, but they amassed some photos of me over the years and got a bunch of them to leave some messages, and some staff members as well. And then they gave me a little surprise as well. One day they presented in one of my classes, and very touching, very grateful for that. Obviously it's sad to go, but changes got to be made and decisions got to be made that are very hard. But that is definitely something I'll keep with me for some time, if not forever. Maybe just as a reminder of my time at Christ the King and all the wonderful, amazing people that I met while I was teaching here, both as colleagues, both as students, alumni, people who came back and helped coach, students I taught, students who went and moved on to different schools. And yeah, just a wonderful reminder. And this last one's going to end on a little bit of a mushy note. So one day I'm teaching, and for all those haters out there who says Mr. Kawaj is always in the hallways, it's funny. It's because most of you are always in the hallways as well. Anyways, a group of students, this would have been last year, so they would have been in grade 9. They wander over to my door, and I don't know if I stopped my lesson to chat with them or just see what was going on, but a little envelope lands on my desk, which reads, "To Kawaja from our class, FYI, you are fired." And that was enough to produce a laugh. But I open up their sealed envelope, and I pull out this little birthday card. It was not my birthday. It was very far from my birthday. And so then I'm staring at this dinosaur with like a volcano eruption. Clearly the dinosaurs are dying in this. And with "you're fired," I think, well, it's not my birthday and this thing says I'm fired. So what the heck is going on? And so, I open it, and it was very heartwarming to see, all these students had just, I guess the story was that they found a card just laying about, and so they're like, oh, let's make a card to Mr. Kawaja. And so, I think there's something like 15, 20 names on here as well. A number of students who didn't stick around for at CTK for grade 10, but a number of students who I taught again, and just a number of really great students. I'm really grateful. It's very heartwarming to, look at this. Just look at the card and just see what's on it, and little messages as well. And yeah, this I've kept this in my drawer for 2 years now, and I'll probably continue to keep it with me and cherish it for sure. Okay, I'm very grateful for all these little mementos that I've received over the few years that I've been here. Very grateful that even in my first year teaching, that students were like, hey, let's draw something for this guy, let's get him a card, let's do this, let's do that. And part of it might have been just that, I would get something from a student, and right away I'd say, hey, I'm going to hang this up on my wall. And then they'd see it there, and then other people would see it there, and I'd talk about it and express my gratitude. But just some wonderful things that I've been given over time that I'll keep with me and I'll enjoy. And, that's not everything that I've received over the years, but that's a lot of the stuff that I wanted to share. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.